All right. Here we go. Back again on the other side of the coin. Ladies and gentlemen, I was not available on yesterday's match. I was so tired. It was 12:30 a.m., so, quite late at night. And I was planning to watch the match, but I just couldn't get around it. I was really, really tired at the end, so fell asleep, and hence could not do this review yesterday when the game was actually on. But I've got two fine gentlemen here. We're going to break this game down. I mean, it's still quite relevant. It's still quite fresh, so it's good to talk about it, get some thoughts. Basically, a bit of a therapy session for all of us. So first of all, Jam, my man, how you doing?
All good, my man. All good. Thanks for having me back. Actually, we'll just say it's the first time I've been on your channel this year. So many more to come, obviously. Happy New Year, everyone.
Brilliant. I'm buzzing, bro. Nishal, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing very well. Same. Back again for the new year. Glad you rested as well. Looking forward to getting to the game.
I've got to say, man, I love that haircut. I really do. It's just a shame. I love it. Go out there and just score some header goals, bro. But yeah, guys, let's get this ball rolling. Obviously, good emphatic victory for us. I mean, kind of expected, obviously, against Morecambe. I think we all sort of expected this. Just before we get on to that, guys, everyone that's joined, thank you so much for joining, honestly. Leave your comments, thoughts, smash the like button as well while you're at it. Obviously, we'll take some of your comments throughout the stream as well. So, yeah, thank you once again for joining. But, yeah, getting back to this game, I had no other expectations besides this particular, victory and this kind of scoreline, probably even more. In my preview with a couple of the other boys, when we were doing the preview, we pretty much said the same thing. I think it was with Jonathan and Mark. They both also said that it has to be like an emphatic victory, and that's what it was. I'll quickly go to you, Jam, and get your thoughts on, some initial thoughts just in regards to the match, how you saw the match, your overall feelings on it.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. If I was to score it out of 10, I'd just give it a 6 or maybe a 7 out of 10 compared to our expectations. I mean, admittedly, I'm going to put my hands up there and say, actually, I predicted we were going to win 8-0 when I saw the starting lineup, but that was a bit rash. To be fair. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we are a team that's out of form. There have been a couple of changes, a few out of form players playing. And what you just need to do sometimes is just win 4-0 and kickstart all these good habits that you get when you're winning, and you kickstart that momentum, take it into Fulham, get a win there. Suddenly that's 2 W's in a row. And the main thing, I think, was to get Kai Havertz and Timo Werner on the score sheet, and we did that. I mean, Kai Havertz, at least an assist, but, he did both. So, actually, the more I think about it, 7 out of 10. We got the minimum done. We won 4-0, kept a clean sheet, and it was a decent display from all, I think. So, I'm happy.
No, 100% have to agree with you that sometimes, these are the kind of sort of matches that you need to kickstart that confidence factor again. We were going through that, that lull period. Hopefully that's sort of broken off the back of this win. And then, as you said, moving on to Fulham, we get a win there. And maybe it could be start of something and we could go around. 100% understand that. Nishal, your thoughts, man, your initial thoughts on this particular match and the performance and the result?
Yeah, I think very similar. I think, we deserve the win. It's what it was expected to get, a comprehensive win against Morecambe. And we needed it. We had 1 win in 7. We hadn't been in good form. We hadn't been playing well. And even that 1 win against West Ham, let's be honest, it wasn't a good performance. So we needed to show that we had that confidence coming back. Yes, it was a game we should have won. Yes, it was a League 2 side, with all due respect. But getting 1 result, like you said, is all you need. Think back to September, where we beat Barnsley. 6-0, yes, it was a routine win and one we should have been winning, but we went 17 games unbeaten from then on. Yeah. Whether that can happen again, I don't know. I hope so. But my point is, even doesn't matter who it's against, what the opposition, what the competition is, any win and any sort of confidence boost like this is going to be massive in the long term. Especially, we've got some huge games coming up. We've got the West London derby against Fulham later this week. We've got Leicester, we've got Wolves. Huge games which we have to be winning in order to, let's be honest, get our title charge back on route. So, I think overall, wasn't the most glamorous game. We played well. There's stuff to look at and stuff to analyse, which we'll do. But at the end of the day, we did what we needed to do. And I'm sure it's going to be a great confidence boost for the players and the team.
Yeah, 100% agreed, man. Cannot say anything further to that because I think you boys have brilliantly sort of summarised your thoughts, initial thoughts on it. So let's move straight on to the lineup, guys. I think there's a little bit of talking point here because, look, I as I said, I wasn't up for this when this was live. I'm sure you guys would have seen it. I'm pretty certain both of you guys probably would have been a bit surprised with how strong the lineup was. I personally, when I did the preview, I had a feeling Frank was going to go with a strong lineup. Probably not this one, as we see in the screen at the moment. I probably didn't expect Ziyech to start, although I sort of thought that Frank might do something like that because of the fitness and he might get Ziyech back into it. I definitely didn't think Mount would start. The back line is exactly how I thought, except I probably didn't think Kepa would start. I thought Mendy would start. Only reason being I thought Mendy, just because of his shaky performances in recent times, I just thought that maybe Mendy will get that confidence booster here because for us, Kepa at the end of the day is most likely leaving, guys. So whether it be in this transfer window or the next one, he's definitely leaving. So I just didn't think that there was any reason for him to play. I just thought that Mendy probably might start. But yeah, besides that, Azpilicueta, Zuma, Rudiger, Emerson is exactly how I predicted it. Gilmour is definitely how I predicted it, but I thought it might have been a double pivot with either Jorginho or Kovacic. So Mason Mount was definitely a bit of a surprise for me. Havertz, Werner, HudsonOdoi. Probably not Werner. I probably thought it might have been Tammy Abraham because I thought Werner much needed against Fulham. But then again, I understand for the confidence booster. But first of all, I'll go to Nishal this time. Nishal, your thoughts on the lineup, man? Were you a bit surprised by it, or were you sort of thinking, you know what, nah, it kind of makes sense?
I was surprised by a few choices. Like you said, seeing Timo Werner start. Part of me was thinking, do we need to? But then I was like, yes, absolutely. He hasn't scored in 12, 13 games. He needs to be starting that. I agree with you about the defence, what we expected. The attack is strong. And I think it's less being surprised that it's a strong lineup, but more surprised that we didn't have many youth players in the squad because that was a big expectation for all of us. Seeing the likes of Tino Andrew, Tino Livramento, Lewis Bay, even June Soon-Sobel, who got left out of the squad completely. And I understand why Frank went with it. So look, we had 1 win in 7. We needed a result. Doesn't matter if it's Morecambe or Manchester United. If you need a result and you need that confidence, you've got to go with a strong team. So in this case, I was fine with it. And I said, look, as always, trust Frank. I think it's a good team. I have faith in him for picking this team, but I would like to see more youngsters. And we saw that as the game went on as well. We had the game wrapped up at 3-0 with, I think it was HudsonOdoi's goal after half time, but we still didn't see Andrew until the 80th minute. So little things like that. But overall, I said, look, that's fine. Get the job done. Would like to see more youth players, but it is what it is. We've got to focus on getting the win. And that's what we did.
Yeah. Jam, do you sort of have the same sentiment as well, or were you sort of looking forward to some of the youngsters getting some opportunity here?
Yeah, I think naturally I just thought that there would be a lot more rotation in this. But then after the lineup came out, I tried to kind of think backwards and think, why did Frank go with this? And we play Fulham on Friday, so there's quite a long gap there. The gap from our last game was a week. So actually, there's been a lot of time on the training pitch for them to work on things and correct the wrongs, right the wrongs, and really highlight what works. And I think they wanted to put that into action because there's almost no point if you're just going to change the team and then just go straight to Fulham. So I kind of get why he's gone with a strong team. There was also a comment that you raised there saying that actually maybe he was just a bit wary of his job, and there must have been an element of that, which I understand. But I think at the end of the day, looking at the result, looking at the way we played, I actually agree with it now. You call me Captain Hindsight or whatever, but actually I kind of do agree with why he's done this. He's rested certain players that needed a rest, and he's played some certain players that needed a confidence boost. So that's Timo Werner, that's Hakim Ziyech, because he was a little bit funny just coming back from his injury. Kai Havertz needed this desperately. And he's put CHO on, who's just carried on his good form. And I think it was quite good. The one surprise for me, all things considered, since he came on, is Fikayo Tomori not starting if he's going to come on anyway. I think we all know that he's good enough to start in a game like this if he's going to play. So that's the one surprise for me, and maybe the one disappointment, actually. Other than that, I'm absolutely fine with that. I was shocked initially, but it makes sense when you think about it.
Nah, man, for sure. Like, Tomori factor, we will get into it. I think it was their post-game that Frank Lampard had sort of confirmed that Tomori is probably going on a loan, or was it pre-match? I'm not really sure. I think it might have been post-match where he's kind of confirmed that they are looking for a solution for him on the loan. So I understand that. And there's been a whole heap of talk about Tomori before the match as well, that he was going to go on a loan. So I actually didn't expect him to start. So because when you think about it, if someone's gone on a loan, the last thing you want is them to get injured, and then there goes a whole loan opportunity. So that from that instance, I wasn't one bit worried. Obviously, someone here has sort of, as you said, Jamzinho. Is that you, Jamzinho?
Yeah. Just got on my phone, yeah.
So they've sort of commented that I think it was based off panic because of Job. I wouldn't blame him about the lineup. Look, I won't probably say Jamzinho. I won't say panic. I think it's more the sense that he wanted to ensure that at the end of the day the job was done. But at the end of the day, he went with a strong lineup. He got the job done, and as you said, Jam, he got the players that needed some confidence, and he also started the players that needed some fitness as well. So, good on Frank Lampard to do that. Now, boys, let's move on to the 4 goals analysis. First of all, I believe it was a Mason Mount shot, long-range shot. I'll go to Jam this time. How good was it to see from midfield someone having a smack? I mean, look, albeit Morecambe was dropping deep, gave him so much space, but good to see that kind of confidence from Mason Mount as well, yeah?
Absolutely. And this kind of goes off the back of what I said earlier about good habits, because we got into this way of playing where we would just get used to going wide and crossing the ball and not really going through centrally, or not going direct, or not shooting from the edge of the box. But Mason is a player that's tried it occasionally, and I think this is a great confidence booster for him just to take it on and just bang it bottom bins, because now he's going to keep doing that. Surely he's going to keep doing that because he has the technique. And I think he could have had a few more goals. I know he's hit the bar, he's hit the post sometimes, but I was so delighted for the birthday boy just to notch a goal like that. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Hopefully we see a lot more of that going forward. We need that added dynamic from midfield. It doesn't just need to be our front three doing that. We need one of our centre mids doing that as well. At least one, that is. So, I guess if you're playing Kai and Mason in centre mid, you could probably say you got 2. But Mace is the one that's going to be, a constant in the team. He needs to be doing this more often. And hopefully he gets a boost from this and does it a lot more often.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was good to see him take that punt. He's been taking a lot of punts in recent times, just hasn't gone in all of those cases. There was chances that he took, I remember, against Spurs. There's been a few chances in other games as well. So good to see that. Hopefully continues that. As you said, we need goals from midfield, man, just to rattle things up. We can't just always rely on, as you said, the front 3. Nishal, going to you about the second goal. Timo Werner finally breaks the duck. I think it was 14 games or something like that without a goal. But it was a great movement from Ziyech once again from the right side, whipping that cross in, inverted cross, and Kai Havertz dinks the header back in, and Timo Werner with a tap in. Can we expect a lot? I feel like now that these guys are hopefully fit and no more injuries, please God, no more injuries, do you kind of see that play happen a lot more where Ziyech cuts in, whips it in, and perhaps Havertz is wide and just dinks it back in, and Werner gets that tap in? Like, do you kind of expect more of these sort of goals?
Absolutely. That's surely a sign of what's to come. But as you said, we need to hope Ziyech stays fit. Of course, he's had a really hard time with injuries since he's come here, but we know what he can do. Brilliant cross, set up Kai Havertz, bringing it back to Timo Werner. As you said, first goal in 13 games. Yes, it's Morecambe. Ignore that fact. For a striker, we needed him to score, and there was no better game than to let him start and give him a perfect opportunity to break that duck. And hopefully he carries that on to Fulham. In terms of them playing together, I think that's definitely a combination we can look forward to. Even with Pulisic on the other side, sending those balls in and doing the exact same from the left-hand side. I think we need to see them play together more, get a bit more of that chemistry, but also hope for Ziyech stays fit. If we see him in another game, he looks tired, he looks like he's holding his hamstring, for example, you've got to get him off because he's the player we need to protect. We saw when we didn't have him in the team, we were lacking that creativity. And I'd almost go as far to say it was the same as when Chelsea wouldn't have Hazard when he'd be injured. And we'd see we wouldn't have that creativity. We play with Pedro and Willian out wide. Yeah, of course, they're brilliant. But we wouldn't have that same idea and that same creativity that Hazard had. And it's the same with Ziyech. We don't have that same production from the wing when he's not playing. So while we need to use him and utilise him the best way we can, we need to protect him. It's as simple as that, because if we don't protect him for this season, let's say, God forbid, he gets another injury and he's out for the rest of the season, what happens, right? Because we've got Pulisic and HudsonOdoi and that's it. So we need to think about a long-term plan, and that goes into January. Do we get another right winger in? Do we promote one of the youth players? Do we look at who else can play out wide? But, we've seen it's almost guaranteed Hakim Ziyech is the player we need to rely on.
100%, man. I mean, I just tweeted, I had 2 back-to-back tweets this morning, UK time, and it was all about Hakim Ziyech, because after watching that match, I just thought, I know a lot of people are going to talk about Callum HudsonOdoi, and we're going to talk about him as well. Obviously, he had a very good match. Obviously, a lot of people will talk about Kai Havertz, but for me, Ziyech, I know it's Morecambe, and I'm not just basing this on Morecambe. I'm basing it on the games we've played with Ziyech and the games we've played without Ziyech. And the distinct difference is phenomenal. Ziyech's distribution, I think what people sometimes lose the fact, I had a few comments in my tweet. A lot of people were talking about, Ziyech is overrated. Callum is the one who's been playing. I feel like saying to them, if you watch the match, the 2 goals for Callum HudsonOdoi and Timo Werner, obviously Callum HudsonOdoi, he directly assisted, that nice looping ball just behind the defense. And with the Werner one, that cross. People tend to forget that Ziyech is not just the inverted cross. He's not just about crosses. How many times Ziyech drops deep and tries to find those intricate passes through the middle? He allows Azpilicueta to overlap. He'll allow Reece James to do that as well. So he opens up a lot of the play, which people need to understand that just because he may not have that assist or that goal, he's doing a lot of stuff that builds up to that situation. So people just need to understand, as you said, Nishal, man, honestly, without Ziyech, I don't know if it's about us getting another winger. I'm more thinking we need another playmaker. I don't think we have the genuine playmakers in our team. I know Kai Havertz could be that, but he's still finding his way in. A lot of people sort of saying, it could be Pulisic or CHO. I don't think those guys are playmakers. They finish things off. They're in the final third. They finish things off. I'm talking about proper playmaker from deep who can find those passes and get to Callum HudsonOdoi and Pulisic and Timo Werner. So, and Ziyech does that at the moment. Moving on to the third goal, Jam. It was Hakim Ziyech once again, second half, dinks the ball just behind the defense, and look, probably a bit clumsy finish from Callum HudsonOdoi, but much deserved goal. Your thoughts on that? I think you're on mute.
I was on mute there. Sorry, my bad. Do you know what? I had so much pent-up frustration from the last month where I'd be getting so frustrated that nobody would be willing to grab the game by the balls and ask questions and just play balls, just be direct, rather than just going out wide and just whipping these balls in. Come on, just try the through ball, Timo's making a run. Tammy's making a run. Just play it to Giroud's feet. Nobody wanted to do it. This is the thing. So it was a blessing just to see Ziyech just trying it again and again and again and again. And you know what's funny? I saw a few tweets of people getting frustrated with Ziyech in the first half because he lost the ball a few times. And I saw one in particular comparing him to Bruno. And I was like, well, do you mean this is a bad thing? How is that a bad thing? We need somebody that's just going to play these balls and just ask the question, because
exactly
it's risk averse otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward. If no one's taking risk, well, there's no reward.
Absolutely. And do you know what I loved as well? Just touching on something I said earlier about building up these good habits, and you know, the chemistry and everything, which is why he played a strong team, because they would have been working on this in training. A clear example of that was the run from left to right from Callum, knowing that the trigger was Ziyech got the ball and took a touch on his left foot out of his feet.
Yeah.
CHO was gone. CHO was gone. He knew where that ball was going, and he delivered it right there. Ziyech, as promised, it was like bloody Amazon Prime or something, wasn't it? So he took a touch, and do you know what? You said it, clumsy finish from CHO, but it went in. You just smashed it at the keeper, and look, maybe that shows the keeper's quality. But that's a goal, and that's a goal because he made the run. Ziyech played the ball, and if Ziyech isn't in that team, kind of what you were saying about playmakers, that ball never happens. Nobody else happens.
Exactly. No one. Pulisic doesn't play that ball. Havertz perhaps, but he's not in that form at the moment to play that ball. No one else plays that ball at the moment. So, honestly, well said about that. Let's talk a little bit about Callum HudsonOdoi while we are at his goal, right? I'll go to Nishal again on this one. His form has been very, very strong in recent times. That really beautiful goal against Rennes, that nice pass from Mason Mount, and that crunching finish from the right side. And then some really impactful performances off the bench against Arsenal, against City. He did really well. I felt he did pretty good against Aston Villa as well, although we drew and Aston Villa probably looked a little bit better than us, but his work rate was fantastic. The question now in the fans' mind at the moment, everyone's been talking about it, that Callum HudsonOdoi now needs to start. He is the number one winger for us. Is that how you feel as well, Nishal? Do you think Callum HudsonOdoi right now is the number one winger for Chelsea Football Club?
In his current form, yes, absolutely. Let's watch our games. Let's watch December. We see Pulisic and Ziyech have had injuries. They've been inconsistent sometimes. We haven't been able to find their feet. But every time Callum HudsonOdoi plays, whether he gets a goal, an assist or nothing, he makes an impact. He changes how a team plays. We look at his last 4 games, he scored 3 goals. Look at Aston Villa. We look at, look at Arsenal, look at Man City, where we're being blown away. Even if we still lost, we see him come on a pitch and it completely changes the dynamic of the game. And you wonder, why isn't he starting? I think we saw a stat that he hasn't started back-to-back games. The last time I remember him starting back-to-back games was 2020 in January when he started against Nottingham Forest and Burnley. For fact, I can't remember him starting back-to-back games in a year. Doesn't make sense because he's not a bad player. He's past his injury problems from April 2019. That's some ages ago. Why isn't he playing? Why isn't he starting? And we saw the same against Morecambe. He was actually my man of the match, whether we touch on that later or not. But we
will.
There you go. Little spoiler.
I've got it all lined up. I've got the whole man of the match page lined up. I'll just give a quick snip review. Just give me 1 second, boys. Yeah, there you go. I'll zoom that up, but we'll talk about that down the track. But yeah, go on.
We'll touch on that later. But Callum HudsonOdoi, he has to be starting. He has to be playing, because when we talk about creativity, if we have no Ziyech, if we have no Pulisic, he's the man, and he should be the man anyway. He's our best winger in current form. He's the one who's been showing the most desire, the most consistency. If he's not starting for Chelsea, we have questions to be asking. Simple as that.
100%, man. A lot of people have been sort of going out there doing propaganda for Callum HudsonOdoi, and rightly so, man. He's in scintillating form. Well, not probably scintillating form, but he's in great form. As you said, Nishal, like he's our most informed winger at the moment. And a lot of people are saying, if he starts, then who do you drop between Ziyech and Pulisic and Matisse? As we all know, tweeted something earlier, or someone, I think, took a clip of Matisse's video in his live stream saying that he doesn't care. As long as Callum HudsonOdoi starts first, he does not care who is the other one, Pulisic or Ziyech. And that's exactly how it should be. I think Callum should be the first one in. Jam, your thoughts as well. You feel strongly about Callum as well to start from here on in with that form. Definitely start against Fulham.
Yeah, man, 100%. CHO Button needs to play. I mean, let's be honest. Ziyech is still finding his way back into things, but yesterday was very promising, and we've actually highlighted how important he's been for us. And look, if I'm being completely real, one of my favourite players, I think he's going to be the victim, or should be right now. He should be on the bench for a bit. Pulisic. I think maybe just based on output, that is. And if we are really playing players on merit, Joe, what has he got? Literally, Nishal said it. It's goal, assist, goal. You know, it's crazy. Actually, when you look back at the last games he's played,
by form and merit, it has to be Callum HudsonOdoi.
Without a doubt. And what I like about him is now, I think he had obviously the start of the season, he wasn't trusted to play for whatever reason. And then when he got his few minutes here and there, he got a goal against West Brom away. That was nice. But he was being really, really safe every time he got the ball. Maybe it's infectious with this Chelsea team, I don't know. But he was being really safe, and he would always get the ball, turn back and play the pass. But then recently, it's almost like he's come on since that hamstring injury in the start of December. He's come on really annoyed. And he's come on, I need to make a difference. And he's just going at people. And he's got them jockeying. And it's so exciting to see. I absolutely love that stuff when, you've got the defender like, oh my God, where you going? And he could go on any foot. He's quick enough. And he's tricky enough. And do you know what? He doesn't lose the ball. And what I love about it is that even when he actually gets tackled, he's got the physique to still knock the player and still almost maintain possession. So
he's got good control.
Yes, he's got good control. And he's got a decent shot. He needs to work on his finishing, admittedly. But what I do like about Cho is his passing is actually really good. So I know you said it's not necessarily a playmaker. I agree with in the context of what you meant. Because you're saying playmaker almost like a matter or something. But Joe, his crossing and his passing is actually really, really good. Maybe his vision isn't on that level to be a playmaker, but this guy, when he gets to the byline and cuts it back, you know something's happening. He needs to be started.
Bro, I am so with you. My next tweet, because I've got my whole tweets worked out today, what I want to tweet off the back of that match. I'm like that. Every time my match finishes, I just know what I want to sort of talk about. Like, it's more bullet points. And my next tweet was actually about Callum HudsonOdoi, which I'll probably do off the back of this recording. And I wanted to say exactly what you just said, Jam, in the sense that, have you noticed how Ziyech cuts back from the right and then he whips it with the left? Have you noticed how Cho does that as well? How he cuts back from the left and then whips it with his right? There's been several times where he did that yesterday against Morecambe, and not just against Morecambe, in previous matches as well, where he'll cut in from the left, and then if there's no opportunity to take the guy on or anything, he'll just go direct and crossfield. And that's very much in the essence of Ziyech. I know it's not in the level of Ziyech, but he's got the capacity to switch the ball, and his passing range, as you said, his crossing is very, very good, man. So, from a playmaker's point of view, probably not the Mata style of playmaker from deep, but in the final third, he's definitely up there. Enough talking about Ziyech and Callum HudsonOdoi. The other one that I really want to talk to you guys about now, I'll go to Nishal this time. Billy Gilmour, man. I know he didn't have much to do, but for me, what I liked about Billy Gilmour, Nishal, was how disciplined he was. He just stayed deep. He made sure that whatever ball was coming to him, he was distributing it out quickly. Few things I really liked about him. And once again, I know this was Morecambe and everyone's going to say, oh, here we go, gassing up Billy Gilmour. No, Billy has done very good previously as well. So, guys, this is not just about Morecambe. I know it's a review on the Morecambe game, but we're not gassing these players up based on Morecambe. Certain traits that I really liked about Billy was his progressive passes. There weren't too many sideways. He was looking for the pass straight through the middle quite a lot of times. There were instances where he would get the ball from centre back and first touch, boom, straight away through the middle. Like he just knows the pass that he wants to play. And as I said, the discipline, he just stays back and just makes sure that, Morecambe's just sitting deep and they're boxed in. Do you feel, Nishad, from here on in, we've had a lot of midfield issues. We still do, I don't even think Kante is actually the solution anymore as a lone DM against bigger teams. I know against smaller teams, Kante has done a job, but against bigger teams in the likes of Man City, I don't even know if Arsenal is a bigger team, but even they, with their C team, absolutely destroyed us. But honestly, Nishad, from your point of view, man, is Billy Gilmour perhaps somewhat of a solution for us down the track in midfield?
Right now, no, but the long-term solution, absolutely. Yes, we can see N'Golo Kante, he's old, he's struggled with injuries, he can struggle against the big six teams. But as it stands, he's still our best defensive midfielder. But the reason we have Billy Gilmour in our squad is so we have that transition. as we look at our long-term plan, we're looking at almost a conveyor belt of players. When Conte goes, Gilmour comes in. Same when Azpilicueta goes, we've got James coming in.
Would you do a double pivot though?
We could go double pivot, but I think with what we're playing now, we're attacking minded. We've got 2-8. I'm fine at 1-6. And I think we saw yesterday, like you said, with Billy Gilmour, he had a really good game. He was quiet, but that's what you need from a DM. You don't need them to have an extravagant scoring 12 goals in a bicycle kick sort of game. You need them to protect the defence, keep the midfield together, and do your job. And he did exactly that. And every time I watched him play and get the ball, he didn't need to go on a mazy run, through the defence. All he needed to do was do his job, and he did that. Brilliant passes, did really well defending and covering the defence, played well with Mount and Havertz either side of him. He did his job, and I can't complain. I think long-term, absolutely. We know Gilmour's our long-term option. And as he's still, let's be honest, getting back into the swing of things from his injury, I think playing games like this and kind of getting back into the flow is what we need. When Conte moves on, Gilmour's the natural choice, absolutely. And I think it's dependent on when's that going to be. It could be summer, it could be in 2 years. But, I'm fine with Gilmour, and I think he had another great game, as always.
No, for sure, man. I do understand your whole point of view about, not wanting to change, just have the lone DM. But my only concern, as I said with you guys, is that Kante just sometimes, to me, he gets caught out, especially against the big games. And I just thought that maybe a change of formation perhaps might help that cause with him and Billy Gilmour playing as a pivot, Billy more sort of deeper playmaker. I think Kante really struggles against the bigger teams when we have to play from the back. The opposition really focus in on him, and he struggles with the distributions from the back. Centre backs, can't really seem to have him as an option to lay the ball off, and they have to go sideways to the fullbacks. That's where we kind of get, our build-up kind of sort of breaks open. So that's probably the only reason why I thought that if Billy was there, he's quick. He before the ball even comes to him, he knows the pass that he wants to play. But I do understand, that means that that's another attacking option for us that goes. But yeah, it's a good point of discussion. But quickly, shout out to Aaron Smith. Thank you for the super chat, my man. Jam said that Odoi has to start, and I agree. But whose place does he take? I think let's quickly just discuss this before we go to the next point. I'll go to Jam, man. It's your point that Aaron has brought up. Who do you drop? Who starts alongside Callum HudsonOdoi?
Yeah, big up Aaron as well. Trying to get me in hot water. No, I'm joking. Really talented editor, by the way, graphics designer. Check him out. But so for me, right now, it's unfortunately one of my favourite players, but just based on output, Pulisic has to be replaced by CHO. CHO needs to be starting in place of him. I think Pulisic has struggled recently. I mean, what he's I think he had a goal. Maybe that's all I can remember. Goal in the last month. So.
Honestly, I don't even. Maybe he might have just had one. Honestly, I don't even remember much about Pulisic. I think everyone just gets so caught up in his dribbling, and this is another point that I want to discuss with you guys. Probably not in this session, but down the track. I don't know if you guys remember, off the back of that City game, Nini tweeted that he wasn't very pleased about Pulisic's game, but everyone else in our fan base was talking about Pulisic and how fantastic he was. I think Nini was misunderstood in that tweet, in the sense he was trying to say that it's great to see all the dribbles from Pulisic, but if there's no end product to those dribbles, then there's just dribbles. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're beating 3-4 players and then it's a throw-in or it's a goal kick, well, what's the point? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess that's from. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Sorry, got a couple of points to add to that as well. Kovacic has come into the spotlight a little bit recently because people say, "What's the output, Kova?" Fantastic dribbles, but I know it's a different position, but we need something, in that. And I think right now, Pulisic has set the bar at Project Restart level. We know what this guy can do when he's in full flow. When he's like that, he's one of the best wingers in the league, without a doubt. But we have to also recognise when someone's not in form. And whether it's his fault or not, he's not in form as much as Cho is. And right now, the team is desperate for some output. We need goals and assists from our wingers. We just need that. So Pulisic just needs to play his way into it. Knowing the injury record of those three anyway, he'll get his chance in the next 2-3 weeks anyway, as it is to start again. So, unfortunately, he's just going to have to sit. And if that, you know what that does to people as well? That makes them sit on the bench and think, I need to be back in this starting team. And it just pushes them that little bit harder to work on something. And it might make them change their game a little bit for the better. So it's a win-win for me.
No, 100%. I just want to tackle this question before I go to Nishal and talk about the end bits of this particular match. Omar, first of all, thank you for the comment. I do appreciate this comment, but I wanted to bring this comment up because these are the comments that I've actually seen in my tweets in recent times, right? Omar has said, Cho scored goals back-to-back. Now Pulisic has to go. It's crazy. His initial comment was, I'll just bring that up just to bring some context. His initial comment was, who drops for Cho will not be the question if had manager who has known philosophy. Now, Giroud scored 4 goals, Tammy dropped. Now, going back to this particular comment, I just want to quickly address this. 100%, I don't think Frank has a philosophy embedded at the moment. I think, however, he does want to play predominantly with Werner in the middle and Ziyech. The other winger is a bit of a toss-up. Whoever has the form, whoever's in that momentum will play. I think Ziyech is one of his main attacking powers. He talks so highly about Ziyech in every match, in every post-match. He's even mentioned the time that Ziyech was injured and we were going through all of that bad form. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's very sad of our team to be reliant on one player. Guys, too bad. That's how it is at the moment. You just need to accept it until Frank kind of figures out exactly how to get, Havertz into top form, how to get Werner into top form, how to get Callum HudsonOdoi and Pulisic into top. Right now, it is what it is. Just accept the fact that Ziyech is the number one attacker. So he starts. So I agree. There is no proper philosophy at the moment, but I think Frank is trying to develop that with Ziyech, Werner, Callum HudsonOdoi and Pulisic and Kai Havertz. So we just need to be patient about it. I know I've been very critical about the team. And I'm not getting gassed up just because we've beaten Morecambe. I just want to give this guy, our manager, an opportunity to turn this around. I think this is at least how much he deserves off the back of last season to showcase us that he can, come back from this. And I think just to reply to this particular comment, Callum HudsonOdoi is in splendid form at the moment. So if I say that Werner and Ziyech are must starters because that's exactly the philosophy that Frank is trying to build, well, that just leaves a fight between Callum HudsonOdoi and Pulisic at the moment. And that fight right now can only be won by Callum HudsonOdoi because he's in form. As I said, those two players, it's going to be really between forms. So hopefully I've answered this in as a rational way as possible because I keep seeing this comment. Let's move on to the next part with Nishal. Nishal, defense and Kepa's first save is the next thing that I want to talk to you about. Kepa, 100 matches that he's played for Chelsea in the FA Cup. He gets a lot of heat, man. But that I think, was it a cross or a shot? I'm not really sure what that was from Morecambe.
Definitely a cross.
Yeah.
Definitely a cross. Yeah, he sliced it. But had that gone in, pandemonium in our fan base. So
he would have
to Kepa.
You know that.
Huh?
You know he would have got slaughtered. No doubt about that.
Kepa out, get this guy out of our club, this, that, whatnot, everyone. So, how important was that to ensure that save, and obviously the clean sheet as well. At the end of the day, he didn't have much to do, but still, I mean, we need to be respectful of a player that's still our player.
Yeah, I mean, the game as a whole, I think we can be happy he kept a clean sheet. Obviously, we know Kepa's been struggling this season. That's an understatement, in fact. But, that save, at first I thought it was a bit reluctant, kind of, that shouldn't have happened. How you let that nearly go in. But when you watch it again, it is a good piece of goalkeeping. And I was like, you know what? Hats off. Well done. He had a good game. He made a good few saves. He controlled the box. And he did what he needed to do. Not that he had much, but he kept a clean sheet. And that's what's important. One interesting thing I will say is that I've seen a lot of comments on Twitter recently, last night and this morning, saying that Kepa should start against Fulham. And I don't get it at all.
I saw that too, man. What is that?
Let me just say, right, whenever Kepa was getting slandered in bad form, didn't appreciate it, but I still supported him. I still said, look, you're a Chelsea player, I'll defend you. And of course, I want every Chelsea player to do well. But to drop Edouard Mendy for no other reason than, Kepa kept a clean sheet in the FA Cup. Come on, let's get him in. Let's get his confidence in. Makes no sense. As I've said, we need to get this form in. We've got to win. And the way to continue this form is by, keeping with his mentality and keeping with his confidence, but also by playing our strongest teams. With all due respect to Kepa, Mendy is our first choice goalkeeper. Yes, he's made a few mistakes, but nowhere near to the caliber of Kepa. There's no point 100%. Of switching goalkeeper. There's been an argument saying, let's start Kepa so he gets his confidence back. Yeah, we can afford to do it against Fulham. No, we can't. We can't. I think at the time of recording, we're 8th in the league, something like that. Yes, we're a few points top, but we can't just afford our Kepa. Let's give you a few minutes in Derby. Come on, have fun, enjoy yourself. No, we can't. We have to be cynical and we have to be honest. And it goes back to the point about the philosophy and rotating and changing players. It's not that Frank doesn't have a chosen philosophy. It's that form wins you football matches. If Pulisic is an inform and Callum HudsonOdoi is, you're going to start Callum HudsonOdoi. It doesn't mean Pulisic is finished. It doesn't mean he's dusted. It doesn't mean we're going to sell him, load out to Vita. All it means is this player is in form, so we're going to start him. And that goes for every position. Mendy's not in bad form. He's doing well. There's no point, no reason to switch our goalkeeper because all it will do is cause more disruption. When Kepa makes another mistake, we'll go back to Mendy and we'll be caught in that goalkeeper dilemma again. And it just starts a constant cycle. So go with your strongest players. Form wins you football matches. Simple as.
100%. I was quite baffled by some of these tweets, as you said. I saw quite a few in the timeline saying that, now Kepa should be starting, and I'm like, what? I mean, they come around telling me when I tweet about Ziyech, and they say, is this off the back of Morecambe game? Like, no, dude, it's not. But you telling me that Kepa should start, that is 100% off the back of Morecambe game because he has not played any other game. So, I just find it funny that sometimes we just lack a little bit of rationality. As you said, Nishal, man, Mendy is our number one keeper. Yes, he's been shaky, but that doesn't mean let's drop him and bring another shaky keeper back in. We've seen how shaky Kepa can be. And I'm thankful for Kepa to be the backup keeper and doing the job and getting the clean sheet. And for now, that's probably what he should be focused on. Whether Mendy is down the track the number one keeper, that's a different debate. I haven't seen enough, but in the recent times, I've seen some things that have sort of bothered me about Mendy in terms of rushing out, in terms of sometimes not reading the play when he gets the pass backwards to him, his distribution, something. But that's a different story. But overall, as a keeper, shot stopper, grabbing the ball, commanding the box, all of that, okay. Whole heap of comments are coming through. I just want to address one of them before I go to Jam on the final part. Anirudh has said, but then Giroud was also on form, yet we dropped him. Why? This is off the back of that conversation from previously, why certain players. I'll go to Jam, but I'll just give my 2 cents on this. Giroud definitely was on form because he was banging goals, but he was also starting. The reason why every now and then he got dropped and Tammy came in, and it's purely, I think, is because of pace, because Giroud simply doesn't give that pace. We saw with Tammy, he does have that pace above Giroud, and his link-up is getting better. He's far more mobile with Werner and Pulisic and Ziyech and all the likes, whereas Giroud is very much just sort of static in that central position. You're not going to see him drop deep too much and then burst up forward and go sideways and cut it. You're not going to see that, and I think that's where sometimes he gets dropped, and it's not because of his ability, as in ability to score. It's more for the overall betterment of the team. Jam, your thoughts on this particular question?
Yeah, I agree with that. With the style of play, it kind of suits us better having Tammy because of the way he plays. I think with Giroud, especially when we've been absolutely slaughtered for being one-dimensional, it will be one-dimensional to an extent. I don't necessarily agree with that, I must admit, because the striker's there to score goals. So, I would actually say our number one striker right now is actually Olivier Giroud. But I kind of get it because we're struggling to create chances that aren't crosses. And I think with Giroud, for some reason, we're not playing the ball centrally to his chest or to his feet where he can hold it up and bring others into play.
Just bombing in the process.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, that's probably one of the reasons as well. And just, you know, on a game-by-game basis, Frank probably thought that we were better suited playing with Tammy for that particular opponent. So I can understand it a little bit. And then you can maybe say the long-term element of Tammy's going to be here for a lot longer than obviously Ollie's going to be here for. And, you know, we know what Frank's like with the youth and the younger players. So, you know, he probably wants to really give Tammy that experience of, you know, getting good game time against certain teams as well. So, you know, I know Frank knows he can rely on Giroud to come on and be Giroud. You know, he will have a relatively consistent performance. So, yeah, I must admit, I don't necessarily agree with Giroud being dropped, but I understand why.
Yeah, of course. Look, as I said, I think moving forward, I think we're going to see a lot more Timo Werner up front. Hopefully Ziyech and Pulisic and Callum HudsonOdoi, they're all fit, and Timo Werner as well. We're going to see a lot more Timo Werner up front. So once again, as you said, Jam, that doesn't mean that, now all of a sudden Frank hates Giroud and Tammy. It's more the fact that Frank's trying to build, we're all crying out loud for that philosophy. He's trying to build that philosophy, and his philosophy is going to be built through Timo Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic, CHO, and Havertz, and players like Tammy Abraham and Giroud hopefully can still back that philosophy up whenever needed. And you know, if their form is good, perhaps they can take over. So let's move on to the final topic of this, which is the man of the match. I wanted to bring that up before we go to the last bit, which will be the Fulham, just to get some Fulham sort of ideology as to what's going on. Let me try and bring this up. Chelsea admin posted this yesterday, and as you guys can see, Callum HudsonOdoi leading the race at 33.3% of the man of the match for this particular game. I'll just quickly go to both of you guys. First of all, Nishar, who was your man of the match for this particular match?
I can never guess what my man of the match was. So I started thinking about my man of the match choice about the last half an hour of the game, and it was between three players: Mason Mount, Billy Gilmour, and Callum HudsonOdoi. And Billy Gilmour? I did a Billy Gilmour in there because, like I said, he didn't put a foot wrong. He did his job really, really well. And out of those three midfielders, I think he did really well. But as I said, I went for Callum HudsonOdoi. I think what I enjoyed watching about him, not just against Morecambe, but every time he plays, he's always a threat on the ball. He's always going forward. He's always attacking minded. That's what you need in a winger. He's always going forward, trying to create chances. Yeah. We saw that, really good pass for Mason Mount's first goal. Brilliant run for his goal. First touch and finish wasn't amazing, but a goal is a goal. I don't care about that. But he was positive and bright the entire game. His movement, his runs, his creativity down the flank. That's what we need from our winger. So he was exemplary. Definite choice for man of the match.
Brilliant. Jam, before I give mine, I'll give mine now and I'll go to Jam. I actually hit Hakim Ziyech on this. And the reason, as I said, I think he was quite instrumental for the second and the third goal. A lot of people don't see that. And not just that, I think a lot of intricate passes, dropping deep, finding those passes through the middle. It caused a lot of havoc. I know Callum played really well as well. Mason played well. Havertz, obviously, with a goal and assist. But for me, Ziyech being back and getting that fitness back and seeing that he ticks and clicks. That's my new word for Hakim Ziyech. He ticks and clicks this particular team. So for me, it was Hakim Ziyech. But obviously, as you can see, he's the third choice at the moment. But yeah, Jam, you're man of the match, man.
Yeah, do you know what? I think all of these players that have been nominated here have been good players to nominate. And yeah, Nisha's right. You could have added Gilmour to that, actually. I thought he had a fairly solid game. But I guess when you're looking at output, these you can only put 4 in a poll. I would actually have gone with these. And I would probably go with a similar order, but I'd swap Kai and Ziyech. So my man of the match is CHO. I thought, again, he was electric. He was getting at his players. He had an assist. He had a goal. The output was there. He was dangerous constantly, really unlocking a you know, the back line and getting the defenders jockeying, and that's what you want sometimes in your winger, you know. So I think that created a lot of space for us, and I think obviously he got himself, like I said, an assist and a goal. Ziyech is really unfortunate because I think he's a very close second. Really, really liked his performance. I think you're very right with what you're saying. You know, if he's not playing yesterday, it may have been a bit of a long afternoon, and it might have just been a 2-0 win, you know. It would have been a bit more difficult. And I thought Kai Havertz did very well. He got obviously the assist and the goal. I thought that was great. But then I think the other two had a bigger impact on the game. And Mason Mount's goal was quality, and he was, you know, quietly very good yesterday. Got himself a goal, and I think that would be my order really. But Cho, definitely man of the match, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, you put up a very good point about Callum HudsonOdoi taking players on, trying to beat them, and defenders jockeying. Just quickly, I know it's an assist, but how much of an assist was it for Mason Mount? Come on, like that.
Mason Mount.
The ball that Callum HudsonOdoi just squares it for Mason Mount. I mean, I know theoretically it goes down as an assist, but let's face it, man, that's not really an assist. Like Mason just has a long.
I'm counting for the sake of it. But do you know what? One last thing I forgot to mention on Callum HudsonOdoi is not only are we watching, obviously there's the eye test and there's a stats test. The eye test shows he's in great form, but even the stats, I was doing a bit of quick maths a moment ago on the stream. He has contributed to 4 of the last 7 goals Chelsea have scored. He's been involved in 4 of them, which is a brilliant stat. He's been scoring, he's been assisting, he's been creating those chances. If those numbers don't say enough to you that he should be starting week in, week out, I don't know what will.
Nah, 100%, man. Boys, let's end this show now. Just some final quick words from you guys. How you feeling about Fulham? Jam, quickly.
Well, I really hope that we finesse Fulham, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a...
touch them up.
Yeah, touch them, exactly. I mean, I think they're going to make it difficult for us. I think they're going to want the game to drag out at 0-0 for as long as possible. But, if we get a quick goal in that game, I can see us beating Fulham. And, if I'm due to say a score right now, I'd say probably 3-0, 3-1, something like that. Cho must start. I'd love to see... I don't know about it up front. I'll have to think about it. But probably Giroud. I'll probably just have to go with him starting. But I doubt that that's going to be what Frank goes with.
Ziyech starting. Is not getting dropped. Werner is not getting dropped. I'm telling you, Roman is going to sack Lampard if Werner gets dropped.
I'm hearing that, and I agree. I think he'd probably start, but we have to get this win. The pressure's on the players. The pressure's on Frank. We must get 3 points from this game. If we don't get 3 points from this game, then sweaty time's coming up, unfortunately. And no one wants to see that, but 3-0, 3-1, something like that.
Nishal, your feelings about the Fulham game? Feeling confident now?
I would say I'm feeling confident. There are bigger fish to fry this month, for example. We have a big month ahead, big test. Yeah. But it's a derby. It's a good chance for us to bring our good form back into the Premier League, keep that winning momentum going, and hopefully move further up the table. I am confident. I'm looking forward to the game. It should be a good one. I think Fulham can pose a threat, but really I'm not too worried. I'm more worried about how we go out and play and whether we do have that mentality boost from Morecambe or whether we're still preoccupied and concerned about losing to City, losing to Arsenal, drawing with Villa. But I'm confident. I would say 3-1 Chelsea. I think we can perform. We need to win this, and if we do, I think we will have a better month ahead. But it all goes down to Friday. Let's see how we do.
Nah, true talk, man. Shout out to Declare. This guy, he comes to my stream almost every time. This is a cheeky comment that I have to read out. My man of the match is Chilwell. Didn't kick a ball, which is what we need to save those legs from injury. Thank you so much for that particular comment, Declare. Cheeky little comment. But thank you so much, Jam and Nishal. Guys, hope you guys enjoyed this review of the match. Everyone that's logged in, please smash that like button. Leave comments after this particular recording is done in the comment section, and I'll try and attend to almost every one of them. And thank you heaps for joining. Just lastly, Nishal and Jam, once again, thank you. Some final words before we go, Nishal?
Yep, thank you very much for having me back on. hopefully we're back up the table and we win the treble eventually.
Yeah, of course, 100%, man. And all of Nishal's, socials are in the description. Please follow him on Twitter and also his blog as well. He's a top writer, so please follow all of that if you're interested about reading some stuff. And Jam, also all his socials are in the description. All the stuff about Chelsea socials as well. They're there. Follow that. They've got a YouTube channel as well there where you'll see Jam as well. Some final messages from Jam.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, man. Echo everything you were saying there. Nishal's a fantastic writer, and I really love being back on here. So thanks for having me as always. But just to say again what you said, make sure everyone watching this video, even if you're not watching it live, smash the like because it really helps. It will really help Miz out more than you probably would ever know, actually. So yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to being on again. Up the Chels, 3-0 against Fulham on Friday. Then we move on to Leicester and hopefully get a sweaty 1-0 win. Sorted.
You're all worked out. Guys, until next time, see ya.